Pretty cool when people start impersonating you, though. That's cool. That's how you know you made it, man. It's spam. That's how you know. But can you impersonate this? The wrinkles? You can't impersonate the wrinkles. Huh? Those wrinkles come from managing $100 million. And I don't say that to brag. I say that so you know that I don't really have a stressful life there. Plus, they don't have coffee cups, right? Our impersonators. It's a great segue there to some coffee cups we're going to start selling because we have an overabundance of coffee cups sitting in the back. They're getting in the way. We keep tripping on over them, and we're going to sell coffee cups. Hey, anyways, welcome to the Closing Beat, a stock market update show that we do every day to cover what's going on. And I'll be quick with you tonight. We've got a couple things to talk about, but we've also got our Wine and Wealth class for customers coming up tonight. And so we're going to do like Q&A, go over some nest egg stuff, talk about the markets, maybe some cool stats and things. And so we'll do that later today. And so, yeah, let's get started. Look at the market. Look off to the right-hand side of your screen there. Yield curve, inflation comments. The market was basically holding its own. It was actually, it sold off pretty good overnight. Started to regain a lot of that through the later hours there, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Started recovering, and then we were doing okay to start the day, and old Jerome Powell, he's the Fed president, came out. He said the I word. He said inflation. Yep, he said it. And from there, the stock market started to just kind of sell off. If we go look, there's a lot going on here today. If we look, I'm going to start with the Russell. So we go over to the Russell. That is your biggest gainer year to date by far, right? It's just the best performing index and has been for some time. But it was your biggest loser today, lost 2.5%. Now it's about, up 9% or so year to date there. Couple interesting things if you're looking inside of there, just some of the weird stocks that people like to look at. Purple, this is the mattress company. It sends you a mattress in a box. I've never bought one, but Casper is another one. All of those were lower. It was basically... Purple was the one that took you down. If you were looking, over there, so Purple came out. Guidance was a little bit weak. They had earnings come out today. Volume was super strong. 32% to the downside there. Tempur-Pedic's another one. It took them down. That's your best performer out of the group there. That one's been taken down as well. But if you look at the Russell 2000, it's a stronger pullback. Did hold the 50-day, but I maintain that this is welcome. Continue to pull back. Look at this run here going into the end of last year, being by far the best performing index. You want to see it take a break, maybe hold up here a little bit, choppy back and forth trading. I have no problem with that. Now, if we look at the Nasdaq, this is getting a little bit rough over here. Now pushing a loss of about 3% year to date. And at one point, if you look at the Nasdaq composite, we could just go like this. Does that do it? You look at the... Yeah, it was down about 10% from the highs. Didn't finish there, almost finished there, but Nasdaq composite down about 10%. That's the official correction there. And tonight, are we going to cover that in the Wine and Wealth? Yeah, we're going to cover it tonight in the Wine and Wealth. Okay, we got some stats being put together. So we kind of talk about a lot of the pullbacks of 10% or more. And what happened? How much worse did it get? What was the rally from there? We're going to look at some of that data tonight in our class just because we kind of thought about that earlier and just, let's have some fun with that. But as far as the Nasdaq today, big caps weren't doing you any favors there. Facebook held up. It did its part, and so did Google. So if you're looking through some of the FANG names and all that, these two did their job. The others, not so much, which have been weak already. Microsoft continuing to sell off, although it wasn't too bad there. You got Netflix lower on the day, almost to the 200-day moving average. Tesla, no, come on. Tesla falling a little bit lower there, starting to get this kind of extended pullback. You like that. If you've been wanting a pullback, now that you got it, I see the emails, I see the comments where people going, I don't know, should I buy? Now I'm worried. No, you got the pullback. Get in there, make something of it if you're a Tesla fan, because look, about a month and a half ago, all of you were like, darn it, I wanted to buy this, but I missed it. Here you go, right? It's coming through there. If I go through the Nasdaq, I'll try to just hop in here real quick. I'm going to use the Nasdaq 100. Wasn't a lot of good to look at today. You had Ross Stores. That one stood out a little bit just because it's kind of extended, found a little support, got a little bit of a bounce there. Gilead Sciences, by far, it's one of the underperformers in the healthcare space. They're not really doing anything as a company right now compared to the others, I should say. But that got a little bit of a rally today, maybe some discount buying. And Regeneron, I don't know that this is a bottom, but that's one that's been pulling back, more and more. Got a little bit of a boost today, but that's about it as far as the gains there. Baidu was your biggest loser. Welcome pullback, right? And what's wrong with that? It's exciting. You had a big move there. You're finally getting a discount. Give it some time. Let it settle down there. And then aside from that, you had semiconductors. They just pulling back there. That's been the stronger industry out there. Microchip, Micron, Xilinx, a lot of names here pulling back. And you're going to start to find a lot of these are becoming attractive pullbacks, right? So you got to switch your mindset just a little bit. You went from playing momentum. You know, when I do the 52-week high list, I talk about momentum and what's just kind of like, what was it, Starbucks and all these names, Old Dominion. They're just kind of plugging along, and you want to have an eye out for that. Now you want to have an eye out for the pullbacks. What's falling at the moment that would otherwise be in a strong industry, a strong sector that was normally doing well, but just has fallen because of the market, right? So something to look at there. And, go over here. If you're looking in the Nasdaq, you're just going to find that you're going to see a lot of those semiconductor names with stronger pullbacks today, Texas Instruments being one of them, another one of them. Okay, you got the S&P 500 breaking the 50-day moving average, officially closing below it for the second time, only the second time this year. For the most part, it was just a broad pullback day. If you're going to just scan through looking for ideas, you're going to find a lot of the stocks were down on the day. And it's the same idea there. A lot of semiconductors lower, some of your like Las Vegas Sands that have been momentum type trades, they all just fell with the market. Nothing too horrible. Etsy a little bit lower as well. Welcome pullbacks so far. Even the airlines, United Airlines pulled back just ever so slightly there. The cruise lines pulling back. So it gives you a quick idea. It's a broad pullback. And I'll go over to the sector breakdown just to kind of show you what I mean here. If you're using our tool in the research site, take a look at the one-day performance. So we'll start by looking up at the top. The green line is always going to be energy. This is what happened throughout the day today, right? So energy, the best performing sector of the S&P, but also the most volatile. The rest of the sectors today, see how they all kind of moved together like fish? Right? They all just did their own thing, and then you have this one fish doing its own thing over here. And that's always a visual indicator that the stock market as a whole was just going to be weak today. There was just no way around it. It wasn't one stock that dropped. It wasn't one area of the market that was more heavily weighted, like tech or something. It was just, as a whole, they all decided they wanted to pull back today, and you can visually see that there. Now, energy, the leader here, like I said, it's also the most volatile. On our list of stocks out of all of our portfolios, energy was our biggest gainers today, but also our most volatile stocks, just like you saw the sector today. So same thing there. Now, oil was one of the big focuses here today. I'll try to put this back over here, get you a good one there. All right, oil up 4.5%. Well, it's a tough one, man. I tell you all the time, don't try to guess that the trend is going to change on oil. It's a very difficult commodity to be counter trend on. I like being counter trend, but it's a very difficult one there. You had OPEC Plus came out with a just minimal increase in production. Remember yesterday I said we're expecting between 1 million and 1.5 million barrels per day increase in production between the organization there. They decided 150,000 would do the trick. So they're just barely going to produce a little bit more oil. Now, the Saudis have the ability to do up to 1.5 million or something like that. So that's coming up online here soon. Could make a little bit of a difference. No, I think it's 1 million. I think it's 1 million barrels per day. It's a lot of barrels per day, basically. So that's what you have in oil. Because of that, the OPEC Plus meeting resulting in agreeance, just with a slight uptick in production, you got a boost to new highs there in the price of oil. I'll point out, I want to show you this one thing here. So if we take a look at like the 5-day performance here, right? Take a look at the 5-day performance of the markets. You basically have everything moving in line here, just doing whatever the market does. You have energy saying, forget the market, we're going to go higher. We're going to be strong. And then you have these 3 sectors down here. Right, so you've got these 3 sectors standing out as weak. Everything else would be considered nominal, I guess, or just kind of like, whatever, right in the middle, just floating along there. And then you have energy. So it's real easy to see that what's been happening so far this year has also been happening over the last 5 days there. So what we'll do, if we go over to tech, for example, if you look at tech, you want to say, okay, well, here's the performance of the sector pulling back a little bit, but over the last 5 days, what's making this thing fall lower here? That's going to be your big cap tech names and a little PayPal in there as well. Right, so you got Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, all of them losing, some of them double digits over the last few days here, and those are your biggest weak areas. So if you're looking for those more aggressive pullbacks, you're going to look at those names. Real quick, it makes you able to go kind of see what's falling. What's giving me that discount opportunity? You could flip it and say, now I'm interested in strength, right? We talked about this yesterday. Oracle, for some reason, the switch to cloud services maybe, but Oracle, yeah, it's pulling back a little bit, but holding up very well in here. And that's probably the only one I would point out. Some of these others, even though they're down, they're holding up nicely. But I don't know, Hewlett-Packard, I mean, how do you get excited about that? That's a tough one there. But when you start looking through that, that's what you have. If you look in REITs, so I'll go over here to REITs, same kind of concept there. We know it's weaker over the 5-day period. Look at that pullback there. So if you sort by 5 days and say, well, what's dragging me down? It's only a couple names, right? Look at the contribution here, being down over 10% and weighted to the tune of 11%, 10% on PLD and Crown Castle. So it's the same idea that just a handful of stocks are the weak areas. If you like that oversold sort of pullback type stock, those are the ones you're looking at. If you're looking at relative strength, you got Iron Mountain, maybe a few others, but would take a little bit more research to get excited there. And then consumer discretionary, this one's actually pretty clean if you want to take a look at that. Same pullback here. You get excited about the sector pulling back. Now it's time to choose some stocks. Well, it's all Tesla, pretty much. I mean, you got Amazon pulling back as well, but the biggest contributors to the downside over the last 5 days have really just been a couple of stocks. Some of the other ones, although they're pulling back, they're just, not really waiting on anything too much. Not a sector, but if we take a look at gold, gave up all the gains. You got new lows on gold there. So that's going to affect any gold mining stocks, any gold ETFs or gold mining ETFs. GDX holding up a little bit because Newmont didn't really fall too much, right? Newmont's actually hanging in there. People are maybe taking a shot at a bottom there. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but let's go to the stocks hitting new highs today. Not a lot of them, but surprisingly, the ones that were at new highs held up pretty good. Tyson being one of them. So if we take a look at Tyson, no, that's the wrong thing. Let's go here. Tyson hitting new highs, got a little technical kind of a breakout there, all clear of any known resistance. So any pullbacks in here would be good if it in fact does pull back. So I thought that was interesting. There's going to be some energy names. You got Diamondback Energy, my favorite. We own it as well, up almost 10% today. Yeah. Yep, happy with that. Nice and strong, starting to get a little extended. You got Cummins, right, hitting new highs, but it did fade. I don't like that it faded there, so maybe it needs some time to pull back. I thought it was worthwhile to put on a list. And then I looked at the new highs that were in the stronger sectors, financials. We know financials are strong. We know energy's strong. So I said, well, let me go to financials, try to find some new highs. Not a lot of good stuff. It's not a great list here today. But you got Citigroup at new highs. I'd actually like to see it pull back. And Morgan Stanley, I think, is working on a pullback today. All day. When it tried to get going, it just faded all day. Every time it get a little bit of a bounce, pushed back. So that makes you feel like, all right, the pressure's really to the downside in the short term here. And we'll give that a little time to breathe. Stocks in the news. And then I'll let the stream catch up, take your questions, and get ready for our class here tonight. By the way, I'll just point out real quick, if you want to join the research site, it's $13 a month if you're not a customer. We're not currently taking new clients here, so you can join it if you'd like, but it's free for clients of ours. And I actually went through and I did a really unique post, and I saw everybody like that post, so I'm going to focus on these here just a little bit more for you. If you go in there, my post here, I did a post on Costco. So I personally put a trade on Costco, and I went through how I analyzed it, why I was looking in this area, using our tools and everything. We got all the earnings data and stuff there, and I went over what the trade would be and what I did and what I'm hoping for. And as I look after hours, it's kind of funny, right, to see the first time I post about something, Costco's trying to bite me in the butt because they have earnings coming up. But like I said in the post, I got a healthy respect for how much Costco can move or gap on earnings there. And if you notice, it's actually doing exactly what the data says that it will do. So that's so fun to me to take a look at that and say, all right, now it's not just data. We're actually going to try to profit from the data and show that. So that's on the research site. And we're going to do a lot more of that with maybe some other interesting things coming your way, as long as we don't get in trouble, and we'll see what happens. Hey, Kroger comes out with earnings today. Stock was a little bit higher. If you are looking at Kroger, you may know in the news they, Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama, or Texas and Mississippi, I think, lifted the ban on, the mandate for masks or whatever it is. And I think Alabama was next, but Kroger came out and said, no, you're going to have to keep wearing a mask if you want to go into Kroger, and if you work there, you're going to have to keep wearing it, even if the state does get rid of the mandate, as I believe 2 of them did, and 1 of them is about to do that. Stock was a little bit higher because of the earnings there. They're killing it. I mean, they're doing well there. So that's what the news is there. Amazon continued to pull back just a little bit. Didn't like the news today. They're going to look for exclusive rights to Thursday Night Football with the NFL. And I don't know, good luck to them, but I kind of don't like that. I don't know. General Motors, lower, just a little bit lower on the day. They're considering building was that the one? Yeah, considering building a new plant in Tennessee for batteries. I don't know where they stand on that, but the stock was likely just lower because of the day. Oh, no, wrong. Okay, so there we go. LGIH, we happen to own it, so sitting at highs, I'm very happy to see that. February home closings up 26.1% year over year. They're selling some homes. Now, closings, of course, means that the home has been transferred to the owner. The deal is done. But, man, it's good to see that. The stock almost hit new highs. Didn't quite get there and basically traded flat on the day. Disney pulled back a little bit, $2.2%. They're going to close about 20% of their brick and mortar stores. Try to focus being online. And your fun Disney fact for the day, by the way, speaking of stores. If you go into Magic Kingdom, and you go down Main Street, you go down Main Street to get into the park. Essentially, it's beautiful, right? On the right-hand side, there's a side street. Lots of cool things I could tell you about the side street. I think I have told you a few of those. A little bit of a side street to just make it look like a street. And in fact, that's the only side street on Main Street. Well, across from that, there's no side street. There used to be a side street. You would go down Main Street and you could go left or right, and there'd be 2 little spots there to kind of hang out, chairs and stuff. On the left used to be a barber shop, flower shop, and maybe a tiny little restaurant or something. They got rid of it to what? Expand their brick and mortar stores. It's now an expansion of one of the stores where you can pay $20 for a Mickey Globe. And who wouldn't want to pay $20 for a Mickey Globe, right? Am I right? I'm right. All right. Anyways, stocks in the news. There's a couple of others in here. DraftKings, they partner with the UFC. Did you know this, Cody? Partner with the... He's already ahead of it. All right. Partners with the UFC to be the official sports book of the league. You're going to see a lot of that. There was some other news out today as well. Do you know who it was? Other sports book... Was it Tillman? Did he finalize that? Something about that anyways. If you follow the sports booking thing and you like to bet on games, well, there you go. Or if you like to bet on the UFC, it's going to be through DraftKings, apparently. All right, Snapchat. Snapchat pulled back a little bit. These guys are, I think they're just throwing numbers out at this point. He said, the CEO says, we think that our revenue growth is going to be over 50% over the next 5 years, few years. 3 years, whatever he said, and you can see the stock didn't do anything. It was just down with the market. Everybody's like, yeah, all right, yeah. Well, Evan Spiegel, I think is his name. They're like, all right, bud, yeah, that's good. Let's see it. Yeah, let's see some revenue there. Also, what do we have here? Let's just check on Costco real quick. I think so. Costco's gapping down on earnings, and my research post was talking about how I sold puts on it. Well, far out of the money puts, I should say. I still think I'm going to be fine there, but I wish. Hey, someone, you want to loan me some money, man? I want to try another one. Who's not using some? Charlie used all your money, didn't you? He's using. My mom's got some money. Mama Jazz. Call me, girl. Let me get some money. Hey, and by the way, before we take your questions, another dozen names, stocks. I'm just tired of mentioning them all. Another dozen names have filed to sell you guys shares so that they can take the money. I don't know. Would you do the same if you were a company? Interesting. All right, let's take a question and see what we can do. Fastly, you're holding 37 shares at $76. All right, what's the game plan there, though? So really focused on this a while back with customers. If you go in the dojo and you search trading plan, there should be 3 or 4 videos there to talk about how do you define your risk. So you have Fastly, you've got a few shares, you're at 76, I think you said, $76. Where are you getting out if you're wrong? There's a chance you're wrong. I think you'll be fine here, as long as it doesn't fall too much more. I think you'll be fine, but at what point do you say, I'll take the loss and go put the money on something else? A lot of retail traders are just of that mindset that they don't have to have a stop loss. They just buy something, it'll wiggle around a little bit and make a profit. You're going to be sadly mistaken. And I'm not picking on you, but people are going to be sadly mistaken that, markets go down and will not go back to your price target or even your entry price for a while. So you've got to have that stop loss in place. There is nothing worse than getting into a trade at, say, $100. It goes to like 85 and you're okay with that. But now it's fallen so much that you just have to sit there and hold dead money while you wait for it to go back to $100 and possibly even higher. If there were a way that you could say, I'll get out at 90 if I'm wrong, take my lumps and go put it on something else and try to, make my money back and then some, or spread the money around, you really got to think about that. Because we're getting into that market now where you can't just hold and hope, whereas the market's been bailing everybody out. A little 2% drop and then it rallies again. I think we're getting outside of that market right now. You've got to have stop losses there, in my humble opinion. Yep. Energy and banks are too small to lead. That's a factual statement. And Tesla is overrepresented in the S&P. Tech will have to rebound soon. All of that is true. That's a good comment, Harry. Yep. How much longer is the bleeding going to happen trying to buy some good tech dips? Well, the Nasdaq may have started the psychological game here, falling that 10%. People like their 10% pullbacks. So the S&P's got a little bit more to go, of course, but I think that's probably what would cause people to be more committed to a significant, actually really committing to buying some of these tech names, some of these bigger names there. And just so you know, I drew it. I left it there for you guys. Where is that button? There we go. So in order to, get this guy, make this bigger. This is the 10% line. So the 10% line, little fun fact for you, always coincides with some kind of support. 10% pullbacks will always coincide with support. Sounds like something that shouldn't be true, but it is every time. Pick a stock, pick anything you like. It's always there. So I'll leave the line, but this is where 10% is. So if you're looking for bleeding to where you can buy stuff, get excited about it, a preferable area would be down here. Let's call it 3,600. Yeah. Should you use stop losses in an IRA? Probably not, because you're usually not, I'd say 99% of people are not trading their IRA. I'm talking about people that trade for a profit in the short term or the midterm. So you have to think in terms of like this coffee cup. If we were going to make coffee cups and sell them, we would want to turn that over as fast as possible. Now, these coffee cups, which we'll soon be selling, we didn't make them. They were just sitting back here, so we'd like to get rid of them. But if you're selling something like this coffee cup, which is soon to be available on our website, you want to get it in hand and sell it as fast as possible. You want to make a profit if that's your business, right? We don't have a profitable business selling coffee cups, never will. But as trading, it's the same thing. You're trying to turn stuff over as much as possible, whereas in an IRA, you're interested in that bigger growth over the long term, and so you're willing to allow for more fluctuation. Also, you're very likely not going to commit a large portion of your account to one investment in an IRA. You're not going to have an IRA that's 50% one stock and 50% another stock, unless you're Harry, which you probably have Tesla, and that's all you have. But things like that, right? So there's a disconnect there, and a known, it should be that way. So you wouldn't do that in an IRA is my long answer. Coffee cups. Yeah, you buy companies you want to hold. Yeah, there you go. You think Norbert, or what was it? Alibaba? Chinese stocks had a tough day today. Do you think you should get out of Alibaba as a sort of a midterm or long-term investment? I do not. No, I think they will be just fine. They got a lot of good things coming down the pipeline. I like them as an investment. As a trade, you may get a little bit of a short-term bounce here just because it's extended maybe a little bit to the downside. I think there's room for it to continue to fall, but if you're playing for like a little scalp or a quick bounce there, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. What do you think of EV stocks? I generally don't have a problem with them. I have a problem with some of their valuations. You are essentially, if you're investing in them, you're investing in the value 10 years from now if everything goes exactly as planned. And you know from Tesla that it may happen, but things don't go as planned all the time. There's a lot of bumps in the road there. Trade your Roth IRA and your long-term in your traditional IRA. That's a plan as well, yeah. So you'd have two different approaches, right? more of a percent-based allocation over here and more of that turnover risk-based trading on your Roth IRA. I love it. Pinduoduo is going to be the same thing as Baidu. It's going to be the same thing as Alibaba, at least for the day. Yeah, that's the weaker areas today. The bigger downside pressure was in those Chinese names. Same thing. I welcome a pullback in these. I think you give it time. Yeah. There's short-term correction. Yeah. So, and it's a mindset, right, Andrew? So you have to have your mind wrapped around, now I'm looking for pullbacks. I'm looking for those good pullbacks, however you like to find them. There's no wrong way. The only wrong way is the way that loses money. But you start looking for, what do I want? If everything's going to pull back, okay, what's going to be is going to be. The market's going to go down sometimes. But how do I take advantage of that? Start getting ahead of it and saying, I want pullback stocks. I want eBay. I want Walmart. I want Costco, if that's the kind of thing that you like. Yeah. No show tomorrow. We're taking the Fridays off for just a little bit because we are trying to do tile. We're trying to do some tile. It's killing me. Can you see it? You can just see me like physically wore down every day. Nah, it's going well. It's hard work, but it's going well. I love it. Who won the bet? Oh, yeah. I don't know that we came to an agreeable resolution there because it did land successfully. That rocket landed successfully. Every article says the Starship 10 lands successfully, then it blew itself up because there was a little fire there from taking out the third Raptor engine that they used this time. So I don't think we're currently agreeing to disagree on who won that one. It was a tough one. A time-lapse video of the tile work. Yeah, I can't think of anything more exciting to post on our channel than a time-lapse video of two people laying tile. Yeah. I love it. All right, I will wrap it up there and get ready for our show here tonight. Wine and Wealth. If you're one of our customers, we'll join you there. Go right into the dojo. It'll tell you when we're live. We'll be hanging out there for a little bit tonight and got a lot to cover. So come hang out with me, grab a drink, and we'll see you later.